put me down.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. Dawn has a long mustache. Dawn has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to the Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We run it live on we do 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on the gun website's YouTube. No, we don't. We run it live on YouTube, and we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the comments that are coming in from the people that are watching the show live. We take the audio when it's all over, and eventually we'll post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage everybody that's listening to the show now, or if you're listening to it in the future, to give us some feedback. Let us know where you are and where you are, and who you are and where you are, and that will let us know who's out there. It'll also help the show to get recommended to more listeners, and that's always a goal. So we appreciate it. We've got 4 hosts. Everybody's here today. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here.
And we got Daniel jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, thank you.
And the guy putting him down was Smeggy from Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Pretty good. And then
Anybody talk during Smeggy's segment?
And I'm down here in Arizona. So appreciate the patience with us. We were at late start because I've been farting around looking at another van. Basically, there's a van that at this point, at least, and we're about an hour and something away from it ending at auction. At this point, at least, it's a pretty decent van in good shape that's going for less than the cost that it would take to rebuild the engine on mine. So I've been paying extra close attention to that. I already had one bid in on it, but unfortunately been outbid. So I'm gathering resources and getting ready to launch one further bidding war, bidding attack right at the end of the auction. And hopefully I'll be able to get this van at a reasonable price, less than it would cost me to fix the engine in my other one. And that will get us back out on the road, at least on this end of the tour, as Bob's getting back on his end, back to Canada. And Daniel's getting back to Illinois. I can hopefully get back out when it starts to get hot here and go somewhere colder, right? I don't know. Colorado, Montana, Oregon. Got outstanding invitations up to Oregon.
And Montana's beautiful too.
Yeah.
We're up there. I love Montana.
But
I like to call it in July and August less hot.
But that's enough about that. We've been taking a big chunk of time for that. So today is episode 319. It's a Thursday, so we'll be talking about gun stuff. Today we'll be talking about we help you buy your next gun. So we're going to spend some money for you. We have the training segment today. When are you finished? Then we'll be talking about shooting events, the stuff that's happening over on the calendar over on Gun Channels. Then all the stuff, of course, that we hit on a daily basis. Before we do, though, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about before we get going? Anything that happened overnight?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, you're not. I don't have news, so.
Yeah, I got nothing. I didn't see anything happening gun related.
They're like those monkeys.
Then let's start the shoe.
I hear nothing.
Well, we had Matt's chat last night. We had an off-air get-together. We do that occasionally on Wednesday after the show. So I want to thank everybody for all you hosts for sticking around and having some time to kind of plot out the show and steer the course, I guess. And it looks like we got a couple of things coming up. Like we started doing the tactical quiz on Saturdays. So we got that coming up here, as well as some other schedule changes that we want to do. So by getting together every once in a while, we keep ourselves on track so that we don't forget to do some of the things that we want to do and get in the way, and it gets us off track sometimes. So I guess we can start the show. It's gun stuff. We help you buy your next gun. I guess if anybody's watching and they want advice, give us some parameters and we'll sell your gun, or we'll buy a gun for you.
Is there anything, while we're waiting for the comments to come in, from us hosts, is there anything that you guys are looking at that we can help each other buy some stuff? I recently just bought a pistol, so I'm not necessarily in the market for buying another gun, but I don't know. I'm always open for good deals, but I think I'm done buying stuff for a while.
Yeah, I want to get another cowboy gun, but I haven't decided what yet.
Yeah, I just literally today ordered a AR pistol upper. So I'm going to be good to go for a while.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Money?
No, I'm saying why'd you get an AR pistol?
Oh, simply because I have the AR. I have the carbine length. I'm very happy with it, and I wanted to since I already had a lower that was complete. It was bought as another, and
Hold on, you can't.
I wanted the ability.
Lower as a what? You can't buy a complete lower with this tube.
Right. It didn't come. It is complete now. I didn't buy it complete.
Oh, okay. You just bought a strip lower.
Yes.
Okay.
And
there's
actually, it was. Go ahead.
I was just making, there's a difference. If you bought one as a rifle strip lower, you can't turn that into a pistol just because you feel like it, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it was not attached to anything when I bought it. In fact, I remember the salesman asking the owner. He said, "What should I mark this as?" And he looked at it and he says, "Other." He said, "Okay," because they don't sell apparently very many AR pistols.
Well, you keep saying AR pistol. So when you bought the stripped lower receiver, it was sold as another?
Yes.
Then that's not a pistol. It's an other. So the receiver itself was never a pistol. And that's a difference because if they sell it as another, you can still make it into a rifle and whatnot. So you can make it different.
So if it goes as other, you can pick your future. If you can do it either or, is that correct?
It doesn't have a destiny, right? But if you keep calling it a pistol and you bought, as I have AR lowers that were bought as pistols, they have a destiny. Like there's no alternation. They can only be pistols ever.
Right.
I guess that's true. I could make them into a rifle, but I couldn't make a rifle one that was sold as a rifle back in those days into a pistol.
But the change in the ATF's ruling is kind of what spurred me on to go ahead and do something with it.
So the fact that one person got a letter was enough to make you pursue a type of firearm?
Well, it only takes one person to make a change in this world, and it happens. So, and there's no gimmies or takebacks under my brain.
Except that the rule that you're talking about was a give back from a gimme take back.
Exactly. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
A little too ironic, but I really do think.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
Good one there, Smeg.
All right, so I got something over on the YouTube side. I want to eventually buy an AK, but I can't decide what AK to get. I also have a hard time saving money for big stuff like firearms. Well, as far as saving money thing, just toss $5 like under your mattress every week or something. Eventually you'll have money.
Oh, you know,
Well, I'm wondering if it's an issue of once the money starts building up, other temptation gets the best of him, and that's why he can't save up. Not that he can't put $5 aside. It just once it becomes $100, $200, suddenly a new camera or something else.
well, you got to have whatever willpower to not do that. But like what Smeggy's saying, what I used to do is buy stuff. But it was a lot easier before there was credit cards and ATM cards and stuff. But buy stuff with bills, throw the change into a bucket all the time. That's an easy one. And then just never pull from the bucket until you're ready to buy something. You can get hundreds and hundreds of dollars just by throwing your change into a bucket and never going back to it.
One thing that I used to do, and again, this is before, everybody was just about issued a credit card, is in my checking account at the end of the month, let's say I had $25 left over before I was about to start a new month, is I would zero it out at 25. Therefore, I had a hidden, although it was not really hidden, it's just really a mind game, so to speak, a $25 that was in there, and then the next month I do it again, the next month I do it again, and that's how I could save up money and not overspend money, and I would slowly build up my war fund, so to speak, and purchase whatever it was I was trying to save money for.
That's not as cool as like taking a drawer and putting like a false bottom on it, or maybe like a book with a hollowed out. You put your money in there.
True, it's not sexy, but it also doesn't require you, other than being aware that you're zeroing it out and that you are building towards what you want, and you don't have to do anything, because if it's right there next to you, especially if it's physically in the same house, it's very easy to just walk in, open the drawer, pop it out, and go to wherever it is you want to go and spend it.
All right, we don't know after that, but we're telling people what guns to buy. So we got dog body. Oh wait, no, we need.
Well, that's what I was getting at with the AK thing. I just was giving them a tip of saving money, but then I was opening it up to the floor of what AK to get. And I know you love that question because there are so many variables. But
if he could just give us a little bit more info, like what are some of the aspects that he likes. He doesn't have to worry about brand or anything like that. Just
no, I won't answer that question unless you bring me 3 that you're gonna buy. Asking me a ridiculous ass question like which AK should I buy is like what car should I buy? How about you bring me 3 that you're looking at that you can actually buy, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons of them if you want, or which one's a better deal or something. But to just say randomly what's out of the most prolific gun on the planet, which one should I get? I don't even know what your circumstances are, what you plan to do with it, which ones are options for you, what's available.
Well, let's at least talk about categories. At least if we can't, nail it down specifically, like I mentioned, a plinker.
Here's a category: buy one that is affordable to you, and then buy one that's attainable to you. Let's start with that 2 categories.
Well, but by end use, I mean category, like a plinker. That might be one.
Okay, so let's say if you figure out exactly like the use this guy wants his AK for, and then he goes, I want an Arsenal so-and-so blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out the Arsenal so-and-so blah, blah, blah hasn't been available for 8 months and it won't be available again. Or it's something that was available 6 years ago. Or it's something that's available from 4 different places. I mean, I guess that we could at least figure out which one of the 4 to get them. But if it's,
there's the used market.
Search is unobtainable.
There is the used market. As long as it existed, there's the used market.
All right. Somebody who's saying I want to eventually get an AK, but I can't decide which one to get, is probably not asking to be sent off into the used market of AKs looking for a specific German 22 caliber.
No, I was addressing your question that you posed.
I hear you. So anyway, I'm gonna stick with my new response to that question. Bring me 3, and we'll talk about them.
Right. And I would say bring us some end purposes of what you want to use it for, and then we might be able to guide you a little better. It's very similar to G-Webs. He's just taking it from another angle that I am.
7.62 by 3.9, so it's whatever you're going to use that caliber for, really. So, Valimut.
Well, he says he wants to be able to hunt with it, and he likes the folding stock. So I guess start looking for folding stocks.
I like to hunt with guns that have no cheek weld.
Yeah, not the best gun for hunting with.
I'm not even sure what game would you take with an AK.
It's like, well, looking for a gun that has a reputation of being inherently less accurate than other guns, and I want the version of that gun that doesn't offer any kind of a cheek weld because I want to go hunting.
Yeah, I mean, you can kill anything you can with a 30-30 with AK, basically.
I would say also just to check your laws, though, if if you're allowed to deer hunt with it or whatever, because sometimes they don't allow that kind of stuff just because it's scary looking,
or it's just caliber shaming. It has to be a certain caliber or above.
Yeah, but normally the 30 cal is big enough.
Speaking of shaming. Let's go over to the gun channel side. And Angry said, I need a big bore revolver. So we're buying him a revolver, a big bore. And then said, which would you recommend, Ruger Vaquero or Uberte? So let's start with that one since that's an actual question and not a vague one.
Yes.
What would you recommend, a Ruger Vaquero or an Uberte? We'll go with Bob first.
Well, luckily I do have both those type of revolvers. I would have to say.
Just give us the answer, then we'll go back and elaborate on them.
Okay, Ruger.
Dano?
Ruger.
Smeggy?
I don't know exactly what those ones are. I've heard of the Ruger Vaquero, but I haven't heard of the other one.
I apologize. These are revolvers, Smeggy. You don't even know about revolvers.
I agree with that statement. I am not a revolver person. Perhaps Clay can steer him in the right direction. But
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that Clay will text this information out all over the internet. I know that's happening. All right, so I'm gonna.
Can you give me a quick summary of like what they are, or I guess I could look them up when I'm done eating dinner.
Single action cowboy guns.
Well, that's like saying a Ruger Vaquero. So a Ruger we know is a Ruger, and a Vaquero is a specific single action kind of old west looking one, and then an Uberte is just like saying a Ford. So it's like saying should I get a Toyota Tacoma sedan or whatever the hell a Tacoma is, or should I get a Ford? So it's not quite apples and oranges. It's like a specific type of apple and then just generally a citrus fruit.
Well,
but Uberte is made in Italy, right? And they're replicas of Colts, so they look way better than Rugers, which look clunky and like what your grandparents would make you wear as shoes, like for church or something. But I'm going to go with Uberte just so that we're not all saying Ruger. Although there's nothing wrong with a Ruger, obviously. It's super strong, but the Uberte's going to look like a Colt. So,
Well, Andy, you
guys pick Ruger, though? I had a chance to elaborate. Why did you guys pick Rugers?
I picked Ruger because Ruger has a reputation for building very strong guns. Now, but on the style side, on Uberte, because I'm gonna throw them a bone as well. If you like the idea of a break action, Uberte does have some options there in current production guns. So if it's a certain, you want a loading gate versus a break top action as an example, you would go to maybe Ruger for the one and Uberte for the other. But there's a price difference. They're not the same.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that he's looking at both of them as gate loaders, single action, cowboy type guns. Like he because he specifically says Vaquero, I'm thinking, okay, that's the Uberte that's based kind of on that style of gun with the bird's head grip and stuff. So I still say, I mean, I have a Piata, which is pretty much the same thing as Uberte, and
he has a clarification here. He says, "Sorry, I meant Uberte Colt SSA clone."
Oh, there you go. Right. So he's looking at
definitely the Colt clone because Rugers look clunky and stupid. Colts look awesome in the way they're supposed to.
But depending on what you're going to use it for, now to turn into Dano, a lot of use. If you're going to use it a lot, go with the Ruger. They have it's a quicker turnaround for any repair, and it's not likely to need it. The Ruger revolvers are well overbuilt, so for reliability and stuff like that, Ruger. Of course,
unless your name's Tony.
Of course, the Uberte looks better because it's based on a Colt and it's made by Italians, and they make everything pretty.
Well, no, but they make it to the Colt spec, so it is a Colt for all practical purposes, just made in Italy and new.
Yeah, but the finish on it is beautiful on the Ubertes, much better than the Rugers, I think.
Well, yes, it's real case hardened metal, not stainless. Rugers are always stainless, right? Or almost always stainless. Or
come in blued.
Blued, but they're not.
You can get Rugers that have case hardening, I guess. We're just not paying attention. Most Rugers are clunky and ugly and stupid looking, but they don't all have.
I mean, I'm looking at their website.
Who?
No, I am.
Whose website, Ruger or Bird?
I actually have both.
Oh, well then.
No, but who's on first? What's on second?
They have blued, they have stainless, they have SAS style guns, and whatever a Brisley is, I'm not familiar with that.
A Bisley is that
Flex
style
and target.
grip that looks like more up and down, more vertical than regular.
Yeah, it's a based on a British target pistol.
More like a crazy broken-wristed European would have.
So yeah, after looking at the Ubertis, those are some pretty guns. So I'll vote for that.
Mm-mm. Dano, you sticking with the Ruger?
You know, he's certainly shown a preference for the Uberti Colt. So, I mean, if that's his preference, then I would say go with your preference. I mean, it's they don't sell a bad gun.
All right, sold. Sorry, Bob, we just sold you
Oh well.
the Birdie. So
Yeah,
you can go ahead and just tell your wife that we said it was all right. You're good to go. You can just go ahead and charge that. No discount code though or anything. Don't have anything set up with them. Getting any other?
Yeah, just tell your birdie that we sent you, and maybe they'll do something for us after the fact.
Don't tell them about Bob. So you didn't like him. We're getting various people remarking on our comments about the Rugers, whatnot.
And so there was a couple other ones on the YouTube I remember seeing going up.
On YouTube, yeah, they're kind of coming in. I'm trying to scroll backwards.
Gun Channel seems to have fallen asleep.
There was actually one before the AK. I didn't see it in time, but looking for a new rifle for target shooting out to 300 yards. Any suggestions? So I mean that's also pretty darn vague, but it's possible maybe he just doesn't know where to start. You know, I know I've had that where I'm like I don't even know where to start.
Too Hottie has a question: AMD 63 or PSA AK?
The PSA is a USA made one, right? It is at least. So that's a good one.
I think so.
Is there a difference in cost? Do you know?
I don't know.
Where's Night Strike?
I don't know where Striker is.
We got our PSA sales rep.
So I don't know. That's a good one. Those are, I don't know what the reputation is of them. And the AMD. So basically, it's two guns that I know very little about. So I'm not going to give you much help other than that's a US one that I don't know much about. I guess you could go look at reviews and get a review from somebody you respect the opinion of as to the PSA one. And then the AMD 65s have been made by so many different people. I'm assuming he's talking about something that's in current production. So, you know, that would depend, I guess, on whose it is. And best thing you can do for that is look in the forums, I guess, and try to be as specific as possible about which one you're looking at getting and when, like, you know, now or like a batch that was out 6 months ago or a year ago. There's a lot of people building AMD 65s, I think, still. I know there was a long time ago, a lot of different people building them. I don't know if that's gone down to fewer builders or not, but AMD 65s is a tough one. So neither one of those is a sure shot. Like neither one of those is factory built. Neither one of those has long reputation. Neither one is necessarily the best configuration for every use. And AMD is kind of handicapped by its front handguards and stuff, and its stock most people hate. And I don't know what's going on in the PSA. I'm assuming it's just standard plain vanilla European. So I'm assuming it has a bayonet lug and all that. If you wanted to try to make it look like old legit.
Right, authentic. Yeah, Hottie's saying that it's only about $50 difference between the two.
See, it doesn't make sense. AMD built from a parts kit. One's from Classic on an FEG receiver. An FEG receiver is a receiver made in FEG Hungary, so Hungary or whatever. So if it's an FEG receiver, then that means the receiver was over there, unless they're buying the receivers and importing them and then building them on factory receivers, in which case it all depends on that assembler. PSA,
Yeah.
So,
and that's a good point that I want to do it just quickly is I do see a real difference between buying a parts kit, which you're going to get variances from gun to gun to gun to gun because they're not made from the exact same settings in the same person every single time.
correct.
Where something that's made off of a production line to make the exact same thing every single time, they're going to be more similar than they are compared to a parts kit.
And more similar doesn't always mean better. More consistent,
Right.
Similar is more consistent.
Consistent.
Similar, though.
Either consistently bad or consistently good. You know,
Well,
you can
no,
go either way.
it won't be bad. It'll be consistently at this level, period. That's the factory built one. And then PSA will either be like a little bit better, a little bit worse, and probably consistent. But those builds could probably fluctuate from a little better to a little worse. Now, I doubt that anything being built right now and sold is so bad that it's really bad, like some of the historically bad ones have been, because there's the internet now, and the internet was still a little baby. It was the end of 2004, and it was the boom of people coming in after the assault weapons ban and being sloppy, and that shit got rectified really quick. When people were making sloppy guns, the word got around, nobody bought their guns anymore, and those places went out of business. So I suspect it's possible that some little fly-by-night come onto the scene and deliver shitty guns, but it would not be for very long, and you'd know about it if you were in the market. So I'm guessing the stuff from these companies is probably good to go. Moon is saying soft U.S. barrels. I'm not sure about that. I don't pay attention enough to the barrels. I don't build them for long-term use. So my advice is on AKs, I guess, go buy a Sega or a Arsenal if you want it for long-term use, and everything else, try to just get as cheap as you can, because it's going to be a question mark, at least in my mind. You know, if it's just a hobby gun or whatever, try to pay as little as possible, because you're probably buying it to fiddle with it, to take the stand guards off and all that. So,
All right, so
makes those chassis. That might be something to think about. Okay.
so if we can get back to the target rifle or whatever,
300
William
yards.
over there is saying, yeah, he's thinking hard about the Savage in 223. Because I had suggested to him either the Ruger American or the Savage if he's looking for kind of like a budget rifle. And if he's got a little more money to spend, CZs make great rifles.
Yeah. But yeah, for cheap, the Savage is a good deal. I don't know if I'd go 223. I'd probably be more likely to go 308.
He was saying he wanted cheaper ammo, though. And if he's just poking holes in paper at a few hundred yards, that would be fine, I would think, huh?
Yeah, it's just, 223 is not. 300 yards, you're starting to it gets more affected by wind and shit than a 30 caliber.
So, I mean, that's one of those things. I'm also still learning about shooting rifles like that. So,
Well, you can get a CD in 7.62 by 3.9. That would be interesting.
I didn't see the question. Could you do me a favor and just read it?
yeah, I was looking for a target rifle that goes out to 300 yards, cheap ammo, and he's thinking about the Savage in 223.
Okay.
So it seems like the budget mindedness is a driving factor in this decision.
Now, that Savage Access, does that come with that adjustable trigger that Savage has? The AcU something or other? I forget what it's called.
I'm not sure about Savage's trigger.
But Savage has...
I know Ruger has an AcU trigger that comes in their Ruger American. Or you can get it in their Ruger American. I don't know if they all come with it.
Yeah, the last time I looked at those was about 2.5 years ago, and at that time, Savage had a nice. You could get a nicer trigger in it if you wanted it, where Ruger was just one trigger fits all. But you're right; they may have changed their options since then. So, like me, my information is old.
Oh yeah, on something like that. Okay, yeah, Anger saying Savage has the Accu trigger. All right. Well, maybe my brain's messed up. But anyways, yeah, like I say just get something and get into it, you know? Like that's you'll have fun with it. Oh, and Ruger has a similar trigger. Yeah, see? So I wasn't wrong either. We're both right.
So your answer to should I buy this one or that one is to buy one of them and get into it. You'll like it.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, jump on the Savage. It'll be fun.
You'll figure out what you like and what you don't like, and you may stick with that gun, or you may end up buying a second gun. But the only way to know is to buy one and go.
So my opinion of deer hunting has been to buy World War II guns and use them. So that's what I did. So I was using 30-06. And then now I just would use 223, I guess, because we got little tiny animals here. But I guess what about something in like the 308?
Well, that's like both the Savage and the Ruger American can be scaled up to 308. Or excuse me, 308 as well as 30-06.
Yeah, no, he likes the 223 for the cheap ammo. So.
Oh.
You got another clarification here. So I like how the questions keep building as we go, and we start filling in the blanks. But I'm just looking to build my rifle skills. I plan on shooting a lot of rounds for practice. I want light recoil to help keep me from developing bad habits from the start. So he really does just want something he can shoot a bunch of and learn how to shoot a rifle good.
Plinker. Yeah. You almost use 22.
I almost wonder, unless he's already started with this, this is not an insult at all, but simply start with a 22 rifle, 22 long rifle. If you just want to develop basic marksmanship, don't worry about the distance. Just start with the technique. What do you guys think of that? If someone's brand new to the rifle platform and rifle shooting positions and basics, because then you're getting into it very cheaply.
Well, that's what I just said before you started talking, Dan.
Well, congratulations, Bob.
You might as well go for a 22 and get yourself a cheap little 22 bolt action. You can learn how to shoot really well with it. And once you can, make one ragged hole at 100 yards, then you can move up to center fire and more expensive ammo.
Why? Because he's a child? That's ridiculous. Start with a 22. That's ridiculous.
No, we're referring to cost issues, though. Is think of all the rounds you can put down range.
Money buy a whole nother gun and a whole nother caliber that's hard to find and can cost a lot right now?
A 22 is like $100. Use less.
Okay. And to learn the skills,
you're
going to need a lot of ammo. So might as well be the cheapest.
If he's already done that sort of thing or has time behind a trigger, then I would say, okay, let's start with something further up the line.
He says he wants to build his rifle skills. He didn't say he's never touched a rifle before.
Yeah, he's on gun channels, and I don't think he said, I've never touched a rifle, so where do I start with a 223? I think he was asking about a specific rifle, and you guys took him down to a 22 and, training wheels.
Yeah, and he's already got a Marlin Model 60, so he's good on the 22.
Well,
he wants something that can go further distance, and
if it's
I think the 223 is a good compromise on that.
But then why go with 223 if you're already shooting? You've already got a 22 caliber. You might as well go to a man's caliber that's at least 30. And then you've got, you've really accomplished something when you're a good shooter with a real caliber versus a gopher round.
All right, so
there you go. Either you listen to Bob and Dano, or you listen to us. But
that was
go. Either way, whatever caliber you go with, it sounds like none of you guys are shitting on Savage. I think they make okay rifles. Yep. They're not the best, but they're okay for what they do.
Yep,
they're fine. I don't know too many people that rag on them. All right, so I'm going to suggest we move along, though. It's 45 minutes into the show. We're still
45 minutes till tea time.
Yeah, exactly. So let's rush the show, and then it'll happen faster. We'll get this in quick.
All right.
So just like go over and refresh. Happy, confident. All right, so go over here and we'll look at the next topic. It's going to be training. When are you done? When are you going to be like Dano? When are you going to be retired from all this training business? When you already learned your lessons, you've spent your time on the streets, you've been trained up, and you're hardened, toughened.
You're never done training.
Anyway, before we get into that, we like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels, you might ask, what is that? It is a community we built a while back. It is focused on firearms. It's completely membership driven. And because of that, we like to feature one of the members there every day. So today it's Rafael, our friend from Florida, who, well, at least Dano has met. Is he the only one who's met him? In this room,
no,
at least?
I mean, the only one of us,
Boost,
I think.
Foos has met him. So has who else? Me, Foos.
The only one of us in this room that have met
I
him.
think Mr. Wright has. Oh, Smeggy, you have?
No, negative Ghost Rider. Anyways, yeah, he's a cool guy. What I like about Raph is that he came into Gun Channels not really knowing a lot about guns, and he just kind of was talking and asking questions, and he bought a couple of guns, and he's been shooting them, and has been learning and getting better, and I love that fresh perspective. So I really enjoy talking to him.
He's also very active in the text chat and the main lobby, or the whatever you call the main news feed, as well as the hangs out in the chats, but in the text chats in the morning and in the evening. So glad that he's there to keep conversation going. Sometimes when when it's just sitting there dead, sometimes it's nice to have somebody around who can respond to someone who might drop by, because you never know when that little back and forth happens. Now a couple of people hear a beep, they come over, conversation starts up. So Ralph's one of the people that is there to usually within reach of the computer, so when somebody says hello, he can say, hey, how's it going, or whatever. So really do appreciate that. It's a valuable resource to the channels.
And a hell of a nice guy. I've talked to him lots. Yeah, like Ralph. Good guy.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
And if you ever want to recommend somebody for the member of the day, we try to, every once in a while, I'll come up with a theme for the week or something, but we try to just randomize who we're featuring over there, or maybe let somebody, if it's their birthday or something like that, have some kind of reason for it. But if you ever want to suggest somebody for it, feel free to. We have an email. It's called dailygunshow@gmail.com. You can email us anytime with ideas for the show, or like that, ideas for the member of the day. All right, we're getting into training. When are you done with this freaking training already? Yankee says we don't even need training. It's just a waste of money.
So there you go. Everyone's all done. Good job, guys. Get your participation certificate here.
So on your 21st birthday, you're done. Or would it be 18th? Something like that.
But
Whenever you're allowed to buy your own gun.
I think we probably all disagree with that statement. So yeah, I'm going to go with what Bob was alluding to earlier, is that you're never really done. You can always learn new things and train, and then take what you like from that and practice it, and then get to different training, because you might have a different perspective, and maybe that other training works better with your mindset, or vice versa, or whatever. And so yeah, go out there and keep training.
Well, especially when you're like Dano, who, that Alzheimer's, he just forgets everything. He can take the same course 2 days later, and it's all new to him. Yeah, so I don't think you're ever done training.
Well, from my philosophy or perspective, the purpose of training is learning how to practice when you go to the range, so that you're not embedding bad habits or reinforcing bad habits that you may already have. And to assume that you are just naturally going to figure out all on your own, a couple of different ways that are all solidly footed, that work well, is, I think, a false premise. That, well, I'll just figure it out. How hard can it be? You point it at what you want to hit, and then you pull the trigger. It's so simple. It's very misleading in that way.
I don't know. We got another comment on the YouTube saying that since listening to the show and Dano's tactical tidbits, he feels like he's done training.
There you go.
So I guess you could just do that too. Yeah, just listen to us and you'll be fine.
But philosophy is part of it. And one thing we're all taking into I assume we're all kind of thinking is that somebody is either concealed carrying and or at least has a firearm available at home in case of a home invasion. But there are other people who are in gun channels that may be attracted to guns for either just hunting or just to go to the range and shoot some ducks, or just go to the range and compete with their firearms and have no interest in concealed carrying or necessarily having a firearm at home loaded for their defense.
Or just hoard them all in their safe.
Yes. I mean, we have lots of different gun owners that are part of our, I don't know the difference between the gun culture and the gun community, but I'm just going to say part of the eligible for gun channels. How about that? And
yeah, but just because they're wrong because they haven't done training doesn't make it right. I think everyone should get training. They just don't know it yet.
Well, I guess the only fault that I might put on somebody is the assumption that something is so simple that you can just figure it all out on your own. You are that brilliant, i.e., you have a closed mind.
Well, no, to be fair, some people are really brilliant, Dano.
Very few. And I am not one of them.
Yeah, but don't you feel lucky you know one?
Who?
Well, it's so nice of you to say, Bob. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. This topic didn't really have very much legs on it.
But,
well, yeah, it's kind of one of those
call there.
So, well, let me ask Bob. Bob, at this current point in your life with the things you have going on that you do, whether it's inconvenient or not, would you put it as a priority somewhere within your list of priorities of things to attain training, or do you feel you are done?
Oh no, I always feel there's more training.
What if you're like,
I would like to take much more training, but I can only do what I can afford.
yeah, what if you're just really old and you got nothing left to live for, though? Then are you done with training?
Well, I think, and what I was trying to get around to is, like with myself, I have orthopedic issues with my back. So there are certain things I just cannot do. And, but that goes into researching and finding a class that will accommodate your limitations, yet still allow you to learn things along the way. And that was one of the things I thought was really great about it.
What about your tactical response class? Would you have not been able to do with a broken back, literally a back that was broken? You'd still been able to participate in like 99% of everything they did.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. So I just don't want to give the perception that if you're not physically able, then you don't have a place in a class, because a class is, like you said, it's just it's like I was going to equate it to martial arts or something. You might be a kid and explore taekwondo or karate or judo based on whatever, and then you're in it for a while, and then you start to look and the grass is greener, and you say, oh, I'm going to go try the other martial art for a little while, or maybe my friend's in that one, so I want to check it out, or I like the way that they do their things differently or something. And then after a while, you've practiced a couple of them, you've seen the thing from a couple of different ways, and then you might take a step back and not be going to a pursuit of a belt or whatever, and you're not going on a very regular basis, and then eventually you're not going at all, but you always have an interest in it and you pay attention to it on the TV, or maybe you subscribe to a magazine or you check out websites or something, right? So can't training be like that, where when you're actively pursuing it, you're going to go to a couple of classes, you're going to experience what it is. Once you start to get an idea of what's out there and what you finish whatever it is that you haven't mastered. And then once you figure you got a good grasp on it, by being aware of it, you're aware of it. I mean, there's some people who are always going to be constantly honing it, but it's not something that is it something that needs to be constantly honed?
The training part, no. I think, and again, I mentioned at the beginning, the purpose of training is so when you go to the range, you know how to properly practice. And it's that part. As long as when you do go to the range, regardless of when that is, you are practicing what you were trained on. That's the point. Now, if you're getting sloppy and going back and being lazy, that's another story. But if you're practicing what you were taught, and you were taught quality material, you should be good. It just, sometimes people over time will forget exactly how they did something or whatever, or they feel uncomfortable. They feel they don't quite have a good handle on it as they used to. Well, they might go back and take maybe even the same class again, depending on what it was.
Okay, so I think we're all voting on training is something you can continue to do your whole life.
And
Yeah, I think so.
But again, part of training is not reenacting, but doing what they taught you at training. So as long as you're still doing that, you should be still good to go.
Yeah. So do we want to move on to something else then? I think we've all just said the same thing 5 times in a row.
No, because I got something to add if you don't mind. So I see Tony
okay.
now, so I started looking at the YouTube site. Tony's saying training is good and everybody needs it, but it's not a necessity. And thankfully, the Second Amendment doesn't require it. Sure, I don't disagree with him. He's correct. But training, I think Dano can understand why it's difficult for me to describe it. It's not the concept that you're learning some physical action with your hands. You're not learning a better way to shoot a pistol. You're not learning some more efficient way to dispatch the opponent, like a better karate chop or something. You're going to get experience with stuff that's kind of boring and kind of dirty and kind of people don't like to talk about. It's not sexy. So it's all the shit that's just you may not ever think about because it doesn't come up, and it's just sort of thorough, I guess, is basically the way to put it, because it's just a bunch of stuff that some of it you may have never experienced before. So the first time you experience it, and you're like, wow, that's really clever, or that's hardcore. I never thought of that before. But after you think about it, it is just root level stuff. It's just very thorough core stuff. So training, when we talk about it, isn't about dispatching the bullet to the bad guy. That's 1/8 of it, or 10th of it, or even 100th of it. It's not what holster you're wearing to carry the thing for 99% of your life until the one time you might have the less than a lightning strike chance of having to be in a lethal force situation where you need to use that thing. Training isn't about any of that. Training is about the state of mind that you need to be in order to strap that belt on in the first place, in order to fight for the whole Second Amendment, and then all that stuff that happens after the fact, and the stuff that people either don't want to think about because it's completely not sexy. It's the stuff that changes your life, and it's the stuff you have no control over. How you're perceived in court, how you're going to deal with, I don't know, the actual literally the moments after the event, the weeks after the event, the months after the event, and that kind of stuff. You're not training for here's what you're going to say. You're not training for here is the procedure that you're going to follow after this situation. You're training to get some kind of just some sort of experience that what all is involved, so that you can come to it with a full understanding of the good stuff, the easy stuff, the fun stuff, but more importantly, the boring stuff, the gross stuff, the dirty stuff, and the really expensive stuff like the courts and how you're into perception to the courts. So Tony's 100% right. You can have no training and you can definitely get through life, because most of us are never going to have a lethal force incident. We live in a very safe country where most people are fucking awesome. We don't have to worry about this crap. But every once in a while, you will get into that. And if you are a complete novice, you're at the whim of chance. And that can sometimes you come out of that smelling like a rose, and sometimes you can be completely in the right and come out of that completely horribly wrong. So if you're going to let chance run it and you're willing to take that, then that's awesome. But if you're the type that likes to be a little bit more pragmatic, have some concept of the potentialities of a situation, then you might want to go to some training, because it'll give you some insight to stuff that you may have never thought about on your own. And more importantly, even if it's something you thought about on your own, you might not have been in a room with a dozen people who have questions with an instructor who's talked to hundreds of people about these issues. And it's that kind of interplay and that kind of situation that you pay for. It's not going out to the range and learning ninja rolls and some sort of holster techniques and any of that stuff. That's the stuff that people like to focus on. But the training is all that other stuff. And before we go, I guess I just wanted to throw that out there, that that's the kind of stuff that you go back to a Masada Youth class for. It's because, like Dano said before, you're getting information like drinking from a fire hose. There's no way to collect it all. So you go back to reabsorb and to continually get new ideas about stuff you never thought about before that you're going to add to your mix.
Something I'd just like to put as a potential cherry on top of what you just said is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that's a way of kind of looking at what is the purpose of training, or what is one of the purposes of training.
Yeah. Spend a whole bunch of dollars to be ready for the chance that hopefully you never need to ever use any of it. But at least if you have to ever deal with it, you've at least understood it a little bit. You've dealt, you've had it explained to you before, if nothing else.
Same reason people are preppers.
Okay. Before we move on, anybody else want to throw their hat in?
No, thanks. Sorry to keep it going. I just saw Tony was saying that, so I took the excuse to just jump in a little bit more.
No problem. All right, it's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, put your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers. Mr. Smeggy, are you available to officiate today?
Yes, I am. I have both windows open.
All righty. Have you seen today's answer?
I have seen the answer provided.
All righty. And for those of you youngins, part of the question is Gulf War. I'm referring to the first Gulf War in the very early 1990s. So let's move on. I shall read the question twice. During this Gulf War, what battalion was issued M3A1 grease guns as standard issue? During the Gulf War, what battalion was issued M3A1 grease guns as standard issue? And find my, nope.
That's a good one.
And
pretty cool.
I was kind of surprised myself when I found this out.
Nope.
Oh boy, that's not the answer. Battalion 42. 19.
There we go. Got it.
Yes.
Robbie.
The answer is 19th Engineering Battalion. And who's our winner today?
That was Robbie.
Robbie, congratulations. I'm sure you know what to do, but just in case, head on over to dailygunshow.com/popquiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice, and congratulations. You're today's tactical pop quiz winner.
Yep. Good job, Robbie. That makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Good job, Smeg. He's recovering from that.
I think he hurt himself.
He falls over.
All right. Okay. You want to bring out the thing or not today?
What does that mean?
The patches? These sticking patches?
No. Everybody knows where to go. We talk about it every once in a while. We don't have to do it every day.
All righty then. We'll move it along. Next thing we're going to hit.
Can I say them real quick, Dano?
Yep.
I just want to mention that it's cool that the engineers got that. I wish I would have been old enough during the Gulf War, because then I would have had a grease gun.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever handled one Smeggy. It's not that thrilling.
I think it'd be cool. They probably gave it to them because they don't really need to use it that much, right? Because don't the engineers go around like blowing up bridges and crap?
Pretty much, yep.
No, hold on. Engineers do all kinds of awesome, wicked stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, I know that.
So anyway, grease guns are awesome. They're 45 ACP for one. So Bob's gonna shame it just because it's an awesome caliber and he's a 9mm enthusiast. But it's like a Sten that shoots 45 ACP. It's an awesome gun. Except it's ours. So I don't know if I want this.
All right. On our next segment, we're going to do our tactical tidbits. Go ahead and get it out. Bring it out hard. Get it all out there, Bob. Tactical tidbits. All right. This is from Tactical Response Gunfighting Rules. And today, let me make sure I got the right one. We're going to go over number 8. But yesterday we did number 7, which was in 10 years, nobody will remember the details of caliber, stance, or tactics. That was yesterday's. Today's is it's not the great shot that wins the fight. It's all the little misses you don't make. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals train until they can't get it wrong. And that is today's gunfighting rule number 8. What do you all think about that?
Sensible tip.
Not the great shot. It's all the little mistakes you don't make. Train until you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of goes a little bit towards, waiting for that perfect shot that may take, 3 more seconds to line up, or just simply take the acceptable shot rather than waiting for the perfect shot.
And if that's the case, that it's going to take 3 seconds to get that perfect shot, or that whatever you're calling a better shot, more acceptable shot, whatever, then maybe it has something to do with getting yourself into that position quicker. Maybe it has something to do with being better at other things that allow you to take the time for that 3 seconds where you don't get to stop time and make it, play with stuff. When you can screw around with other things that allow you to take your time where you need it.
You might need that tactical role to cover,
Well, we had talked several previous rules. We talked before about the importance of moving the nanosecond something begins towards cover. And if you can't find cover, at least concealment, but getting distance. And that's what's going to allow you to as G-Webs is talking about, try to take advantage of that time while you're moving to cover or concealment. You take advantage of those seconds because you don't need your arms to run. And they can be doing something productive in the meantime. And that is rule number 8 for today.
Well, the other thing I think to that one is, I don't know if it's another rule or whatever, but it reminds me of you don't rise to your level of training, you fall to you don't rise to your best day of training, you fall to your worst day of training in a time of stress, right? So don't go out to the range and think, oh, I achieved a 10 ring. Like, that's how good I can be. Don't expect when you're under stress to achieve that best you can be. You want to look and go, okay, I can get a 10 ring, but when I'm not getting a 10 ring, I'm getting a 7. That's probably where you're going to be under stress if you're lucky. So you want to get to where you're always hitting the 10, and every once in a while you have all of them stacked. And then you can say, okay, comfortably, I'm going to fall to the 10 ring. I'm not going to fall to the 7.
I think about that every time I see a video of somebody shooting a paper target and they discount flyers. It's like, no, that's what you're probably going to shoot with, or something worse when you're under stress. You're not going to shoot a hole in a hole. So,
well, so then we can go on to the next one.
Yep.
Yep.
So where do we go from here?
What do you think? Movie of the day?
Sure. Wow, me and Dano are the same person.
So every day we like to talk about a gun-related movie, something that you haven't seen in a while, or if you're a youngin', something you ain't seen yet. And today it's called Domino. Z put them in here. There's a bunch of, I guess, girl heroine, female leads. So Domino, was this the one where she's the bodyguard or something? It's kind of a weird, stylish movie. Like the filming is kind of stylized.
I don't remember ever having even seen this one, so
You might not like it. It's kind of, it's like a more of like a rock video type of editing than a regular movie, if I remember right. Unless that was just parts of it, but it seemed almost kind of difficult to watch, if I remember right. You had to kind of really want to be watching it. It's some young attractive girl turns into a bounty hunter. Has anybody else seen this one? The only one that's seen it?
I have not seen it, but I'm looking up the Wikipedia summary, and that's pretty much what it says. A recounting of Domino Harvey's life story. So I don't know, is it based on a real person or something? Anyways, the daughter of an actor turned away from her career as a Ford model to become a bounty hunter.
Yeah, it could have been a kind of a life or true story, but I don't know how much of it is true and how much of it is.
Well, it's got Mickey Rourke in it, that big monster of a person.
18 minutes. Yeah, he's in it. It's an interesting movie. It's really weird. A bunch of drugs in it, a lot of violence. I'm pretty sure they maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if you people that remember seeing it more recently than I am. But I thought they kind of cut it weird. A lot of loud music and quick angles and weird. It's sort of like what's that Quentin Tarantino movies? How his are kind of filmed a little bit differently than regular movies. Kind of remember it being a little bit differently.
Right.
I think I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't like it because of that. It was just too much to keep track of, so I was too distracted and I quit watching it. I don't watch movies, but I just sit on the couch and watching them. So if I can't keep track, I'll just move on to another movie where I can keep track of it. And I think I might have gone back and tried to watch it because people said it was good. And obviously I don't remember much of it. So a lot of guns, though. I do remember a lot of guns and stuff in it. I don't know
if it's SIG P228. Beretta 92, Beretta 92 Inox, Desert Eagle, Smith & Wesson 625. It's got some shotguns. Yeah, seems like a lot of cool stuff.
Now, it credits Mickey Rourke in this movie, but I don't remember what character did he play in the movie?
He's the main dude. It's like about her, but she's hanging out with him the whole time.
Oh, okay.
So Steadily saying it's shot like through the eyes of a druggie, and I think that's what it is. It's supposed to be like you're supposed to feel like the like part of the scene or whatever. Anyway, it was all right. I don't know if it was all great, but we'll say that was movie of the day. Since we don't remember it, we're not trying to sell you on it. We're just trying to remind you of a movie. I might go back and watch it again, and if I didn't like the first 10 minutes of it, I won't watch it, but maybe I'll watch it again. Let's see. I'm going to just mention Steadily asked when's the next AK-47 Guru podcast. We can jump into gun channels tonight next because today's Thursday. There's not a Yankee tonight, right?
There is a Yankee tonight.
Are you kidding? There is or there is not?
Well, hang on.
Wasn't he last week?
Yeah, I saw a thing that said he was going to be live, but I think he's going to be he just takes questions. So it's a Yankee only week, I think.
Yeah,
I think a super chat.
So then that means I might be doing an AK-47 one tonight. I'm bidding on a van here, literally minutes. So I might be doing a bit of a van chat potentially. But if not, then I'll probably do a AK-47 Guru podcast chat. Probably gonna be doing those once or twice a month instead of every week anymore. All right, so
so in your AK-47 chats, if somebody hits you up with a question of, I only have $500 to spare, what kind of AK should I buy?
It's a ridiculous question. A used one? I mean, number one, does somebody really think I know every AK that's out there that's under $500? I'd be some like
maybe. Well, let me flip the question around a little bit. Are there any that I should not buy because they have a poor reputation of reliability?
I don't know if you're just trying to piss me off or something, but I've got like 3 minutes before I gotta try to bid on this van, and now you're gonna ask me the question I hate answering, and now you're gonna ask me in this podcast about it from an AK podcast.
Maybe you should show up during the AK podcast and ask them. You know.
I don't know. I thought I was a host of the show. Maybe I'm not. Am I just a guest?
I don't know about that, but like I say, definitely distracted. So why don't we go on to...
We do gun of the day.
Yeah, we don't have a gun shop today. So gun of the day? Hold on.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't want to take a thing that's going to take too much time here. So we'll go to this. Well, this is an old one. I haven't used this music in a long time. Let's see when this was made. 2010. This is the music I used to use all the time, and then somebody claimed it, and I had to unmonetize a bunch of these videos. Stupid YouTube. So we're talking about gun every single day. This week we're doing videos from the Gun Website's YouTube channel. I think I opened up the Derringer playlist, and that's what we're looking at, is a bunch of videos out of that Derringer playlist. So the other days we've been looking at different Derringers. Today we're probably looking at one of the coolest of all Derringers ever, the Cop Derringer, made out of Torrance, California, if I remember correctly. It's a 4-barrel, 2-on-2 quad stack, double barrel or double action. So you just pull the trigger. There's no stupid hammer to deal with, and it sequentially shoots one, then the next, then the next, then the next. Made by an off-duty cop. At least the story goes. Made by an off-duty cop as a backup gun. It's 357. You got 4 shots. Ultimately reliable. All the advantages of a pistol, all the advantages of a revolver stuck into one. The only disadvantage is its weight. Super cool little gun. Used in a couple of movies. I guess it has a long trigger and it's expensive. Otherwise, super cool little gun. I wish they would have kept developing it. Imagine if they make this in polymer now.
Oh, yeah.
Is that pretty thick?
Well, yeah, but look, it's only as thick as 2 357 rounds stuck together, so it's not that bad. It's like a Glock. It's not any thicker than a Glock. It's probably a little thinner than a Glock even. I don't know if I have one around anymore to, it's probably a little thinner than a Glock actually.
I remember when these came out, I really liked them. I thought they were really cool. I wanted one. I still want one, but yeah.
See, I only ever remember them after, so when they came out, was it like ads articles in magazines, or was it ads in the back of magazines that got you interested?
Oh, there was articles in magazines. There was articles about them. The ultimate backup gun, they called it, and kind of stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of the writers loved them.
So kind of neat. Do you know the, oh shit, what's the name of it? The Wesley 22?
No.
I don't.
I think that's the name of it. So if you go look for the Cop Derringer, you're going to see that it was invented by this guy. And if you go look at what this guy invented, the Whitney Wolverine. Do you remember that gun?
Faintly.
So now you'll remember it.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that thing's cool.
Same guy. Isn't that cool?
So the dude just likes making funky things. That's cool. I
Yeah.
always like that.
He likes making cool looking guns or whatever, like his own style guns.
Base gun.
All right, that's enough of that. Somebody else host the show for a minute. I have to go.
Yep, I got it. And we're going to go cover events next.
Thanks.
So let's go ahead to the main page. And coming up on June 2nd, we have the Blade Show.
Are you going to screen share or we're just going over it?
Oh, just a moment.
If you
I
want.
didn't think of that. Let me.
For the
And
record,
also,
Pull my page
it's a
out
nice
here.
time. Everyone in the audience, send some good karma out into the universe for G-Webs.
yep, and it's still sitting at just over my bid, so I'm about to upbid it, but it hasn't gone like crazy. Everybody in the universe trying to buy it type of shit. So
Right.
still sitting there, about to drop a hook.
All right. So everybody looking at my screen, G-Webs, if you can just click on it so those at home can play along, is we have Blade Show coming up June 2nd. Just going to click on that. Of course, now we all have to wait on my internet to catch up. And Don't have any details on it. You guys know where it is?
Blade Show is in Atlanta.
It's at the Cobb Galleria Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Opens at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. on the 2nd through the 4th. So you want to check that out. Blade Show 2017, just coming up shortly here. Then after that, tickety-tickety-tick, we have the Outdoor Retailer Show, July 26th. Got a little time for that. But that is coming up here on, they're open on the 26th at 10 a.m. to the 29th of July, close at 6 p.m. And they are, trying to see if they have the location. Let me go ahead and jump over to Outdoor Retailer and see if it has it there. Tickety-tock, tickety-tock, tickety-tock.
Yeah, so that's the thing, just to mention, if, you know, we always encourage people to use the calendar over on Gun Channels, put events in. They don't have to be huge things. I've always said, dude, just put your local, you know, gun show that you might be going to or something.
What are you looking for, Dano, over there?
I was just looking for the location of the Outdoor Retailer Show.
Oh, okay. I don't know where it
What
is.
city it was
Usually,
in.
usually it's Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Next, on July 27th, we have TriggerCon coming up. And
Whatever
it's
the
a
heck
4-day
that is.
event. On the 27th, opens at noon, and so it's 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. I don't know if that means at 12 hours, but they're open from the 27th.
No, I just didn't put in the time. And that's what I was getting to, is when you put in the thing, like if you are making the event, it's nice to put in the location and the times and stuff. On that one, I didn't really know anything about it. I saw a post on Instagram and was like, oh, that looks like a gun kind of thing. So I went ahead and put the dates on, but it just defaults to like midnight to midnight or whatever. But it's obviously not open at midnight.
Right. But it's open till July 30th. And then in Ohio, we have the Cartridge Show on October 6th. Followed on the 7th to the Trinity Site tour of the first atomic weapon that was would you call it test fired, or what would be the appropriate term for a nuclear
detonated?
warhead going off?
A detonation test?
Yeah. Anyway, is it once a year or twice a year, G-Webs, that they open that up?
Twice a year.
Twice a year that they open that up, and the next one coming up is October 7th. Then after that, we have one that someday I'd like to go to, and that's the Knob Creek Machine Gun Shoot on October 13th. And I believe that is in West Point, Kentucky on the 13th. So that would be a gas to go to something like that. You guys ever been to a machine gun shoot before?
Yeah, Big Sandy, but not Creek yet.
Well, Big Sandy would be another one that I guess if I got at least to go once to either one of those, I would think it would be a hoot.
Oh yeah,
Right.
fun.
I think the thing is with Knob Creek, it's definitely much more like public and they both have spectator, but like it's more friendly to the public, as in there's lots of people there, and their whole purpose to be there is to rent the guns, and you just pay for the ammo or whatever, and you get to try different stuff out. Whereas Big Sandy is a bunch of people who happen to own full autos all get together, and like they let people show up and watch, and maybe you could convince someone to shoot, but it's not necessarily a commercial thing. Whereas Knob Creek, there are lots of like companies trying to make money by letting people shoot their guns. So
Right.
I just feel like the Knob Creek, if you want to go shooting and renting stuff, is probably a better bet.
Okay, then next in October from the 17th to the 20th, it's opening at 9 in the morning, closing at 6 in the evening. We have the, you have to tell me what this acronym stands for. It's in Kansas City, Missouri, the NASGW Expo, an annual meeting. Assuming that's the Shooting Sports Professionals. But there it is, right there. It was right in front of me. The National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers. So that's coming up in October. And let's see what we got after that.
Thank you.
We got the one that I went to this past fall, which was the Wanamaker Gun Show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That is November 11th. It's on 2 days. It's a Saturday, Sunday. They are there on Friday, but that is basically dealers only. And although there's a lot of business done on that day, it's not for the general public, unless you happen to know a dealer and can get in under their auspices. But definitely worth going if you can get there. If you're looking for something unusual, hard to get, or when you see something, you might see only one of them, so you really don't have any selection. Let's say you're into Lugers. There are Lugers all over the place at that gun show of all different prices and all different conditions. Let's say you have an authentic lever action Winchester 1873 from the 1800s. They have parts for the fire control mechanism inside those guns that you can go get that are authentic. So if you want to keep, you have something unusual or where it's really difficult to get and you want to keep it 100% legit as far as the time period, that's the place to go to either get the firearm or to get parts for the firearm that you may already have. And again, I just used the lever action Winchester and the Luger just as an example, but it applies to a whole bunch of firearms, from pistols or rifles, from Western guns to milsurp guns, you name it. I couldn't think of anything, with the exception of what I'll call the AK world, that the gun show was weak in. It was strong in most other categories, at least I can think of off the top of my head, and definitely worth going there. If you've never been, you should at least go once, sometime during your life.
And I might add, they've got decent RV parking. So if you're traveling with your camper, reasonable price, and it's a clean site. Everything works. So yeah, you can just park your RV right there, and it's a short walk right to the gun show.
And the other thing I'll mention, of course, it's open around here for the most part, and that's the J.M. Davis Museum, which is just outside of Tulsa, probably about, depending on where you're at in Tulsa, it's anywhere between, 20 minutes plus, depending on your location. It was 20 minutes for me to get there. And it's free to get in, although they are looking for donations to help keep the place running. It is operated by the state of Oklahoma, so that it will never close. But in regards to any improvements beyond that, that's kind of where the donations come into play. And I also believe that you shouldn't take advantage of something just because it's the guy put it out there for the good of the general public. But I believe in paying it forward, and you should at least put out what you think would be an appropriate gift, plus maybe just a little bit extra if you're able to do so. And if you're not, you're not. That's why it is indeed free to the general public. And lastly, I'm not sure why this was in there. Maybe Smeg, you can help me out with this one. He has November 15th Gun Channel's anniversary. The anniversary of Gun Channels. It's not really, well, it is an event, but it's not a place to go to.
Yeah, but
other than virtually online. And that is the upcoming events as of May 25th, 2017.
Well, heck, I'm getting a little nervous for G-Wubs here. How come his bids aren't showing up?
Yeah, he'll come back when he's ready.
Well, we got a moment. Let's talk about one of the things that happened in history today. It's kind of gun related. This was the first time in history in 1917 that bomber aircraft were used to drop bombs on a city. And German Gotha bombers attacked London and killed quite a few people. They were much more effective than the previous airship raids, at least. So think about that. This is like, this day in history is when the first time they ever used bombers. Now imagine every other war since then. That's all you can think about is the bombers.
Yeah.
So,
and there was a term that I knew what it meant, but I truly didn't appreciate the term until much later in life. And that was, and there's a couple different terms that kind of mean the same thing, but it recurs to a firestorm, where later on, they started dropping incendiary bombs, not just regular bombs. And it would actually create a firestorm that it would suck air in from all directions of the town because these fires were so massive. Specifically, if you look up the Dresden bombing as an example of one, that wasn't the only location.
Tokyo was a bigger one. Yeah.
But that was one of the... Go ahead.
The firebombing in Tokyo actually killed more people than the nukes did.
Yes, and we were dropping incendiary bombs there. And that's another example of that sort of bombing where it's so massive, all those individual fires create one massive fire that just sucks the air in from the surrounding area. And there's literally, the wind is coming from all directions to the center of the fire.
And people have been sucked into fires. But, you know, that's just getting off the thing. Just in history, this was the first time they ever used bombers. So
yeah,
it's kind of a significant time in history.
And bomber planes, right? Because ours and Tony's asking, didn't the Chinese drop black powder bombs?
Yeah, these are balloons, aircraft. Yeah,
high altitude balloons they used.
Yeah, before that, the Germans had used airships, and you know, other armies had tried using balloons, dropping bombs, but first time that, you know, we deliberately targeted a city with actual designed to be bombers aircraft. So yeah, that sucks. Technology makes these great leaps when we're in the middle of giant conflicts.
Let me see if I can share this other page with us while we're looking to wait for the results, so to speak. I gotta get something up on here so I can screen share it. Come on, computer, cooperate. Okay. I just thought I'd go ahead and do a just kind of a brief review. I know we talk about it every once in a while, but we don't always show it, and that's gearwebsites.com. And some of the things that are available over there. We'll just do a brief review. We have the Every Second Matters patches that are available. I'm not sure if the, I call them rubber, but I'm not sure that's not the correct term, ones are available still or not. And then they have the Second Amendment designs. Here's one example of the I Love Guns and Liberty. Followed next by the G in various colors. And then for those of you that are into spam cans and the like, we got the 545, and I would imagine there'd be 762 over there. And I know there's just, at least as of the other day, subject to change, they still had a couple of the Glocktober patches left over, as well as a number of the Arizona ones. And we go on down just a little bit, and we have the FU Media patch, which is kind of interesting, I think, anyway, as well as the Gun Show Loophole Tour, which hopefully will get some air back in the tires and move forward at some point in the future. So if you are interested in all original designs, some sewn by G-Webs himself, some by other sources, check them out over at gearwebsites.com. So
yeah,
how we doing?
There's something else on that. If you've got stuff from Gear Websites before, there is a thing you can add a comment. And I know G-Webs was asking for people to, I don't know, like leave a review or a comment or something. Partly because he wasn't just kind of see how it works or whatever. It seems like if you leave the comment, it's almost, it shows up at the bottom of the page, like no matter where you are in the website. Because I know I left a comment on a specific like patch, like just this type, and then I went to a different one, and like my comment was down at the bottom. So I guess just maybe put some stuff in general, but you know, send out some kind words or whatever. That's always helpful.
And something I just want to mention for people that may maybe be new to the show or new to gun channels or a little bit of both, is we have an about page over on the dailygunshow.com website that, example, I wrote up a little thing about myself and my background, and I know G-Webs has done the same, as well as Bob. Smeg is working on something in progress at this point. But if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about the host of the Daily Gun Show, head on over to thedailygunshow.com, click on About, and you'll be able to find a little bit more about the host of the show. So I'd certainly encourage you to do that if you are relatively new and don't necessarily are kind of wondering, well, what's these guys' backgrounds? You know, who are they? What are they? Check it out. So I don't. Do any of you have the? I don't have the patch, so I don't really necessarily want to go into Gun Channel story time. So I'm going to let that sit there in the holding pattern until G gets back. But anything else you want to go ahead and dig into until G gets back, or we want to go ahead and put the show where it's basically at?
I think we're pretty much done anyway, right?
Okay. Well, I just want to give Smeg a chance to see if he has anything else. Hit or miss Tuesdays at 9, or how's it you say it?
Hit or miss Tuesday nights 9 o'clock.
There you go. Excellent. And on that note, barring G-Webs coming back in here at the last minute, I'm going to say thank you all for coming to the Daily Gun Show. We will be here tomorrow, same time, same channel. And with that, I'll hand it over to Bob.
Yeah, no, I'm with G-Webs. Don't be ending it now. I think our dying fans want to know what happened to the van.
Freaking Sharon stole it from me. It's technically got a couple of minutes left, but I got her up to 24:69. It's got 3 minutes left, but I can't. That was way more than I even had. So,
damn it!
I pushed it further than I could, and she took it again. So Sharon is going to get it.
Well, at least you know you made her pay a few extra $100 then.
Yeah, at least $400 more than she was expecting, at least. But man,
and now her kids don't get to go on that cool field trip.
And the audience can breathe a sigh of relief as I hand the baton and the microphone back over to G-Webs.
Well, sorry for the distraction there. It was a little weird. It wouldn't accept my bid for a minute. I don't know if it's because multiple people were bidding at the same time or what, but I'd run around trying to clear my browser and then trying a different browser and stuff, trying to get in there to place a bid. It finally let me. And then the way that one works is it'll extend 5 minutes. So I kept having to debate if it was worth, going even more and more into debt to try to grab a van. But anyway, she took it from me. Did you guys talk about the playing card deck at all?
No, we did not.
So just before we head out then, I do want to say, or just let people know again, that we are doing the Kickstarter for the Old West Guns playing card deck. So it's a deck of cards where each of the 52 cards is an individual firearm. So you've got an inventory of rifles in there, shotguns, rimfire, 13 revolvers, a whole bunch of Derringers, and then pocket pistols. So I'll put a link in here. Feel free to check it out. Even if it's not something that's up your sleeve, like it's not something you're interested in, definitely appreciate sharing it, putting it out there on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and other places, gun channels. All those links will help the project itself become more established. And you never know when somebody stumbles across it and it is clever for them and they participate in it. Just a whole bunch of, I think about 400 people, and we'll be done with it. We're up to 100, actually 200 people, and we'll be done. We're already past 100. Looks like Yankee Marshall did a video on it today, so that's helping give it a lot of wind in the sails. So looking like, I don't want to put chickens before they're hatched, but it looks like we'll be doing good shape with it. I don't know if I got to mention on air yet, but I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and he gave me a lead to another place to get them made in the USA. I was misled that there's only one place to have them made in the USA, and I'm glad, because it looks like I might not need to have the massive quantity that I needed with Bicycle. So it looks like I've got at least a lead to try to make sure that these get made here in the USA, no matter what quantity we make them in. So definitely so stoked on that. And I just want to take the opportunity to say thanks again to everybody who's participated in it, and urge everyone who's interested to see it come through to help share it. That really helps a lot when it hasn't even really started like this. It's kind of just catching its air.
Oh, right on.
Well, yeah, it officially starts tomorrow, right, on John Wayne's birthday?
Yep, we'll go live tomorrow, I think. Let's see, it says in an hour from now. So basically we gave ourselves the end of this show tomorrow and a little bit of time, and then we'll go live, and that'll be the official start of the thing. With Yankee putting his pointing to it with his audience, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a good way towards being funded before it even starts. So that'll be pretty cool. That'll be a great way to get it going. There's a couple of cool things that once you get past that point of no return, where like you can get them made, then they actually start to go down in price. So then it can be a fun situation where, because you need to put a price point out there so that you get them made at a certain quantity. Well, if you can get to a point where you don't need to just hit that quantity, but you can go much higher, then the price goes down. So that gives us room to add things like stickers and patches and other stuff. So for the same money, you end up getting more stuff, is what that means. So as more people participate, more and more stuff will get sent out for that same $15. So definitely looking forward to seeing how far we can go with that. And like I say, I think I have pretty optimistic that we'll be able to have them made in the USA no matter what, and that's super cool. So again, thanks everybody for participating in that project. We'll see you over on Gun Channels. You guys already talked about what's on Gun Channels today.
The only thing we didn't do was the Yankee patch. Or what is it called? It's the Yankee chairs, I'm sorry. Yankees chair for Gun Channel story time.
Oh, you guys didn't want to do it, or you didn't have time?
I couldn't remember it.
Nobody else in here remembers Yankees chair?
No.
I remember it. I just didn't know if Dana was skipping it for some reason.
Oh, so we try to do a story every once in a while. Let the people who might be listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube who don't know what's going on over at Gun Channels in on some of the stuff that happens over there, but mainly it's for the people that listen from over on Gun Channels. You may have heard, actually this one doesn't go around so much anymore. Yankee hasn't been hanging out as much as he used to, but Yankee was a fixture at Gun Channels at the beginning for sure. He was there every single day, all the time, almost 24/7, and that's sort of what this is talking about. He would, no matter who was live, he would always jump in and then go live his life. So if he jumped into your chat and then he had to go roller skating or whatever, he would just stay logged in and his camera would be pointing at his chair. So it was, people didn't mind having Yankee in the chat because sometimes he had something to contribute, but he was also someone who would jump in and talk once in a while, so he would contribute. And anyway, so most people didn't mind him being there. No, I don't know that many people that dumped him out. Every once in a while, if the room got full, they would dump his chair out of there. But for the most part, he was just sort of a feature, right? Everybody would have a room going or whatever, having a show, and then there'd be Yankee's chair. And, maybe sometimes 3/4 or more of the show, it would just be Yankee's chair instead of the actual Yankee.
Well, and didn't somebody screen capture and then turn their icon into Yankee's chair?
Oh, we've done that before. Yeah, where everybody just swapped their picture with Yankees chair so that it looked like it was just a bunch of empty chairs.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. That was kind of before my time of joining the chats, but I was definitely watching back then.
Now I'm starting to remember it. That was a while ago we started that happened. Oh.
I remember far more times it was only the chair than times with him in the chair. Although when he was in the chair, you never missed it because he always made his presence known.
Well, some could say the chair was against the wall.
Was it? Or was it? No,
it probably wasn't against the wall, eh?
It has some unsubstantiated facts.
No, I think it was sort of into the back of the, into the middle of the room.
Yeah, because he would get up and walk behind it and stuff. Well, I said maybe. I said you maybe could say that. Turns out you can't. That's fine. I was wrong.
All right. Well,
I think with that then, that was a couple of things we wanted to add to the end of the show there. It sounded like you guys were wrapping it up. Did you talk about tomorrow already? Episode 320?
No.
So, and I think we'll do a AK-47 podcast a little bit later then, seeing if anybody can co-host with me. We'll talk about AKs for a bit and kind of figure out what we're going to do with the AK-47 podcast. There are some people who are supporting it over on Kickstarter, on Patreon. So I'll figure out something to do there. Either they can tell me to F off and keep their money, or they'll be down with it fewer. But I just $79 doesn't pay that. It doesn't even pay a water bill really. So it's tough to put too much time to the show. I can definitely do it once or twice a month, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on today. And then tomorrow it'll be episode 320. We'll be here at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. We're going to be talking about alternative gun topics. So what to do with your old gun magazines, periodicals. The Gun Biz just says Q here, so I'm guessing something happened. And then Dano's Tactical Tidbit will wrap up the week. And tomorrow is John Wayne's birthday, so we will be starting the kickoff of the Old Left playing cards. So we might talk about those a little bit on here if you guys want. Otherwise, I guess we'll see you then for that show.
See you tomorrow.
All right. So if that's it, let's wrap this puppy up with our quote. Before that, though, I want to remind everybody, please like, share, and thumbs up the video. The more people we can get watching this, the better. This quote today is by Theodore Roosevelt. We can have no 50-50 allegiance in this country. Either a man is an American and nothing else, or he is not an American at all. So that's something for all the new immigrants to pay attention to, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.